Hey y'all, what is good? What's up? I am shaking in my boots right now. I'm a little nervous. I never go live. When I say I never go live, I never go live. But I am in a speaker coaching program right now, and we have been tasked with creating a live series for our target audience. And so here I am. Whether you are tuning in live to this broadcast or you are watching the recording, I'm so excited that you're tuned in. We're gonna have a great time through this series. I've been preparing, I got my notes, but we gonna let the Spirit do what the Spirit do. Amen, amen. So this is the first of many lives that I'm hosting, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited about what God is doing in my life. I'm so excited about just the shifts that are happening, and I'm so excited to be here doing this. If you know me in real life, you know that, I tend to be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more shy, timid, all the things, and yet somehow, some way, God is bringing me to the forefront, bringing me out of the shadows, and really just pushing me out into the deep. And so I am following, and I'm encouraged by it all. So welcome to Pivot with Purpose. This is a 3-day live series that I created for early career women because I was once an early career woman. I know how challenging it could be to navigate all of the different trials and tribulations and all of the ebbs and flows, the emotional weight sometimes that comes with navigating in your early career. And so here we are at this night where I have a couple of things that I want to share over the next 3 nights. Before I do that, I just want to give some shout outs. So first, I just want to acknowledge that it is Women's History Month. When I was a girl, we didn't really celebrate Women's History Month. And so shout out to all the women. Okay. This one is for the girls. I also want to acknowledge that it is National Social Work Month. As an MSW, I am super excited to just recognize and salute all of the social workers out there. Social workers work so hard. And I just salute wherever you are, as a social worker, whether you work in schools, you work in hospitals, all the places. I just want to salute you for the work that you do. You are seen, you are valuable. Social workers make the world go round. Amen. Amen. If you're a social worker, drop it in the chat. Let me know that you are here. Okay. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I have some content that I want to share tonight, and I want to make sure, I want to get you out of here in a reasonable time. So my name is Maria Tate, and I recognize that many early career women experience emotional and identity shifts as they grow in their careers, but they rarely receive guidance on how to navigate these changes with clarity and confidence. As a professional who specializes in working with early career professionals and as an MSW-trained certified life coach, I am passionate about helping women understand the inner work of growth so they can own their career pivots with clarity, confidence, and alignment. That's why we're here. That's what we're going to be talking about over the next 3 days. So, buckle in. I hope that this information will be practical and also just provide inspiration and encouragement as we go forward. So, as we get started, I want to share a little bit about myself. So currently I serve as an assistant dean at a 2-year college. In this role, I oversee our student life, which includes student programming, leadership programs, and student organizations. I get to coach young people every single day in their leadership development. I meet them in the process of where they are. It's really exciting, and I really enjoy working with the students one-on-one, doing organizational development, individual development. But how many of you know it didn't start here? I did not start here. This position that I'm currently in is really a culmination of so many of the experiences that I've had over the years. So much hard work and dedication that I have shown in working with students that really got me here. And so tonight, I want to share 3 lessons that I wish I had learned sooner in my career. And I'll share a little bit about my career journey throughout. Okay. The first lesson that I wish that I'd known sooner in my career is that your career aspirations evolve as you evolve. During my senior year in college, I was a human development major, and I found myself kind of wrestling with my career decision. I was torn between these two paths. Do I go down the social work, social services route, or do I go the student affairs route? And how I got there is because I was a human development major. I am going to class every day. I'm learning about all of these different social issues and social problems. And then I'm a native Chicagoan. I grew up in this large city with all of these complex issues. And I said, something's got to be done. I want to go back to my community. I want to help. I want to support. How can I do that? And that's what my classes really kind of got me in that mindset. Well, simultaneously, when I was in college, I grew as a student leader. So I started to get involved with student organizations my freshman year. That grew. By the time I got to my senior year, I would consider myself to be a student leader. And I remember one day sitting in an appointment with my advisor for one of the student orgs I was a part of. And she said, Maria Tan, you know that you can do this as a career. Like, you can get paid to work on a college campus. You get paid to work with students. And I was like, okay. And so that led to my last 2 years in undergrad, my junior and senior year. I was a part of a mentorship program for students who were interested in careers and student affairs. So by my senior year, I am just torn. Like I said, I'm going to class every day, learning about social problems. I want to help with that. But then I also am really enjoying the leadership that I'm involved in, the things that I'm doing on campus. And I'm like, which route do I go? As I look back over my career journey, I wish that I'd given myself the permission to say, you know what? I don't need to make a decision right now. I'm 21 years old. I don't need to make a decision about the rest of my life. And also, I wish that I'd given myself the permission to slow down, to pause, to do more career exploration, and to just identify what I wanted to do through that career exploration. If you can relate to that, drop it in the chat. Let me know I'm not in this alone, right? Have you ever been torn between two paths or maybe more than one path? Let me know in the chat. So I shared that first point, right? The first lesson that I learned is that your career evolves as you evolve. At 21, I felt like I needed to make a decision right then and there. But ultimately, I think that what I've learned is that as you grow and as you develop, as you become more self-aware, your journey, your career, and your idea of what the ideal or dream job is, it evolves with you, okay? So just remember that. If you're an early career woman watching this, I just encourage you to give yourself the permission to explore your career journey. Explore the path that you're on. Explore these different possibilities, and don't feel like you need to lock in, especially when you're so young and you have all these possibilities to choose from. Why you gonna box yourself in? You don't have to do that. The second lesson that I wish that I had known sooner in my career is that there's a difference between a transitional role and a pivotal role. What do I mean by this? A transitional role, I've grown to learn, is those roles that are typically the entry-level roles. Those are typically the roles that you have when you first graduate from college. Those are roles that allow you to gain experience, exposure, build your network, all of those sort of things. The pivotal roles, on the other hand, are roles that, you have some skills. You got some meat on your bones by the time you get to the pivotal roles. And really, you're just trying to figure out, how do I gain more influence, right? Maybe I have more reach. Maybe I want to step into kind of those entry-level leadership roles. That's what I kind of think of as the pivotal roles. For me, when I graduated with my graduate degree in 2018, I didn't really know what I was going to do next. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a next step. And y'all, I was scared. When I say I was scared, I was scared. I was scared. I was anxious. I was nervous. I was comparing myself to other people. I wasn't really sure what to do. Well, a few months after I graduated with my master's degree, an opportunity presented itself to teach life skill classes to high school students, and I took it. For me, this was a transitional role. This was an opportunity that utilized skills that I already had. I was used to working with high school students, working in educational settings, and so this really came naturally to me. And I also love teaching. Well, as my career progressed, I knew that this role was not a role that I would stay in forever. The reason being is because this position was a grant funded position. And if you've ever worked under a grant, then you know that grants can can be a little bit shaky. Sometimes they get renewed, sometimes they don't. And I knew that that wasn't a place that I was going to stay for forever. I was also commuting over an hour each day to get to that job. And so I just knew that this was a place where I'm going to gain experience. I need a job because I just graduated, but I'm not going to stay here forever. Well, something really, really cool happened. In the midst of me working at that job, the second semester working in that job, the curriculum focused on career readiness. Do you know that in the midst of teaching that curriculum, I fell in love with career development? I realized that I really loved working with students, particularly on their career development. And so that exposed me to career readiness. Well, like I said, I realized that I'm not going to be able to stay at this job forever. I'm not going to be able to stay in this role. I cannot continue to commute. And so I was working on a job search. Well, in the midst of me doing that, I saw a job, a career advisor position actually opened up at Illinois State University, of which I am a two-time alum, a proud two-time alum, albeit. And so this career advisor position opens up, and it's amazing because I'm just now taught career readiness. So I learned this career readiness curriculum. I'm teaching it to high school students. A career advisor position opens up on a college campus. And I'll be honest with you, I looked at that initial job description and I wasn't sure if that was what it wasn't about if I wanted to do it. It was more about, am I qualified to do this? Like, I've been working with students. I've worked on a college campus. I had done different things like as a graduate student, but I'm like, am I qualified to do this? I don't know. And I think that's a lesson in and of itself, that just because you may not meet every single thing on the job description, I would encourage you, especially in your early career, apply. What most employers say is if you meet 70 to 80% of the job description, apply. Do not psych yourself out. If an employer says no, then that's no. But if you don't even submit your application, how will you even know if you're qualified? How will you even know? And so, y'all, I am so glad that I applied to that job. I applied to the job. I received the job. And when I tell you, working as a career advisor at my alma mater was a pivotal role for me. Skills that I use today in the most administrative role that I've had thus far in my career, those were skills that I gained working in that job. Communication, leadership, public speaking, facilitation, coaching. Those were all skills that I honed in on working in career services. The last thing that I'll share about this idea between a transitional role and a pivotal role is that you have to know how long to stay at a job. For me, I was so grateful that I stayed at career services for 3 years. At that time, that was the longest time that I'd stayed at any job in my career. And there's something to be said about sticking around in an organization and really gaining the skills, gaining the experience, building your network. It's so important. And I know that millennials and Gen Z, we get a bad rap, for job hopping, etc. But you get to the place in your career where you say, you know what, I'm ready to kind of plant some roots. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to just go further in my career. And it's hard to do that when you're constantly transitioning. And so that's something that we'll talk about kind of later in the season. The last lesson that I want to share this evening is that I wish that I knew sooner in my career is to ask for what you need. Y'all, this is really the heart of my message. So often when we talk about career pivots and career transitions, we focus so much on, well, you need to have the right resume and you need to know how to interview, and it's not what you know, it's who you know. All of those things are true. I'm not in denial about any of those things. I was a career advisor for 3 years. I literally got paid to help students find a job. So I know about the practical things that are involved with getting a job. But what I've learned throughout my career journey is that it's the inner stuff. It's the inner work that often we overlook and we discount, and we don't do that work. So when it's time to pivot, we actually don't know what we're looking for because we haven't done the inner work. And so I'll share what that looked like for me. In my early career, and even as recent in the past few years, I struggled to ask for what I need. There were times where I was timid or shy about asking to use my professional development funds, or just to use my professional development funds. And it's like, that's insane. That is insane. That's insane, because that's money that my employer literally set aside so that I could grow professionally, and I'm not using it. That doesn't make any sense. And it was all because I was too afraid to ask for it. I was afraid to take time off of work. I felt like I always needed to be at work, or I needed to justify my absence. If I'm going to take time off work, then I'm going to work super hard before I take time off, and I'm going to work super hard when I come back, and all of these things. And I got to the place in my career where I realized that I'm exhausted and I'm dissatisfied because I'm not asking for what I need, and I'm not even utilizing the resources available to me within my organization. Y'all, throughout my entire career, I have been a single working mother. And I say that because that has had a significant impact on my journey as an early career woman. There were so many times where I was afraid to ask for time off so that I could, go and volunteer at my son's school, or even just to go and drop in on his Valentine's Day party, or even, to leave work early because we have a tournament with football or what have you. I was afraid to ask for what I need. And so all the while I'm trying to keep it all together and make it seem like I have it all together and I've got it figured out, I was breaking down on the inside. And maybe people could see it, maybe they couldn't, but I knew that inside I wasn't getting what I needed, and I was struggling. I'm showing up to work trying to help students, but in reality, I'm empty on the inside. And so when we talk about the inner work involved with career growth, it's about identifying you. It's about starting with you. Before we start with a job application, an interview skill, a mock interview, or anything like that, we first need to start with you. Who are you? And when I say who are you, I'm saying who are you outside of the roles, outside of the responsibilities, outside of the titles, outside of the accolades, the accomplishments, the achievements. I know, sis, especially if you're a Black woman listening to this, I know. You got your degrees, you got your credentials. Black women are the most educated women, okay, period. And that's great, until you get to the place in your career where you realize, I've got all these accomplishments and all these achievements, but I don't really know who I am. I'm working for the glory of other people. I'm trying to work my way. I'm still striving. I'm trying to prove myself. I'm showing up half-heartedly because I don't really know who I am. That's the inner work of growth. That's the kind of secret sauce that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. We focus so much on the practical aspects of career searching or job searching and career pivots that we miss out on the mindset work that's involved with the shift. And that's what we're going to be talking about over the next 3 days. I hope that you all will join me in this journey. Like I said, I am so excited. Thank you for tuning in, whether you tuned in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or you've been here the whole time. Thank you so much. It means the world to me because this is something that I'm passionate about. I've worked with many early career professionals, but I've also been an early career professional. I know how challenging it could be to show up every day, but on the inside, you feel like there's something missing. You feel like God is calling you to something else, but you're just not sure how to get there. And it's not about applying for another job. You want purpose. You want your career to align with calling. And you're not there yet. And I know what that feels like. And so over the next 3 nights, or 2 nights after this, that's what we're going to be talking about. So I hope that you will join me. Come back again tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'd love to see you. And then on Friday, we're going to be right back here at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be debunking the myths that many early career women believe. Okay, so join me right back here, 6 p.m. tomorrow. Before I log out, I want to give you a challenge. Okay, every single night, I want to issue just a brief challenge, something that you can take forward with you as you think about your career journey, as you think about this pivot, this next move, okay? So the challenge that I have for you tonight is to create an affirmation. What is this pivot season affirmation for you? I'll share mine. I have all of the clarity, confidence, knowledge, and skills. I'm simply waiting for the right opportunity. That's my career affirmation that I'm holding in this season of my career. What's yours? And I encourage you to take a couple minutes, maybe 2 minutes or less, 5 minutes or less, I would say. Write down that affirmation. What is the affirmation that you can hold as you think about a pivot that you're already in, a pivot that you're anticipating, or a pivot that you aspire toward? What is that for you? Okay, so write that down. I'd love for you to bring that back tomorrow. Drop it in the chat for me. I'd love to read a couple of those as we get started. As I mentioned, tomorrow we're going to be right back here at 6 p.m. live, talking about debunking the myths that many early career women believe. I hope that you will come back, hang out with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. I thank you for your support, and I'll see you there.